So here it is. We've done all of them. We've done the worst, and now it's time for the best. The 10 best video game movies ever made. So I've already done the 10 worst video game movies ever made, and I even did an every video game movie ever made ranked list. And yes, the top 10 was included in that, but I understand that not everybody wants to watch an hour-and-a-half long video, which that video was. So if those of you that are just interested in that top 10, you only want to know what the best are, this is the video for you. Do check out those other videos though, because they took a really long fucking time to make. Now, as I mentioned in those videos, this is my list. Not yours, not his, not hers, mine. I don't think there's anyone on earth who is going to agree with all 10 of my selections, and that's okay. But I do think that we can all agree that all these movies I'm going to list aren't the worst video game movies out there. And if you think any of them belong on that list, then check out my 10 worst video game movies and you'll see what true, absolute dumpster fires of movies can be. You don't know true pain until you've seen Blood Rain 3. My point is, if you don't agree with this list, that's okay. It's not wrong, it's just my opinion. Now, this is the opinion of someone who has watched every single theatrically released or sequel to a theatrically released video game movie ever made, excluding some of the foreign films that have not been localized to English that I couldn't watch because I wouldn't know what the fuck was going on. But all the other ones, they're here, and if you're interested in seeing my thoughts on the individual video game movies that I have reviewed through the years, then check out my video game movie review series playlist on my channel. All 60 of the video game movies I reviewed are there in all their glory. Now, with all that out of the way, let's jump right into this thing with number 10. Prince of Persia was the first video game movie made by Disney. And because of that, they had a whole lot of money to put into this movie, and you can tell this movie looks great. They were clearly going for a Pirates of the Caribbean vibe with this movie, but you know, that's okay, because the first Pirates of the Caribbean was a really fun movie. And so is this one. It is a bit ridiculous at times. I mean, it's about an orphaned kid who becomes the prince of the Persian king, and he gets a knife that can make him go back in time, and he's trying to defeat some guys who are trying to take over the throne, and you know, all that kind of stuff. But it's still a good time. All the performances are done with an earnest swagger that you don't get in a lot of these movies. You got a banger of a cast, some great special effects, a story that is enough to get us to the next really fun, entertaining, cool scene, and a great pace that starts and doesn't stop until the end credits roll. The very end of the movie gets a little out there, but it doesn't ruin the experience. This is a really high quality, fun, entertaining ride from beginning to end. And speaking of rides, it's time to jump into number 9. Need for Speed was a whole lot better than I ever thought a movie based on a racing game would ever be. Beyond the fact that there are cars in this movie, this doesn't really have a whole lot to do with the franchise it's based on. But that's okay, because the movie is still entertaining in that dumb Fast and the Furious kind of way. Now, make no bones about it, this movie is very much a pseudo Fast and the Furious clone. So if you're not a fan of the Fast and Furious films, you're probably not going to be down with this one either. But if you can get down with the Fast and the Furious' brand of kind of over-the-top stupidness, then you'll probably find something here to like too. Also, if you're a fan of cars, there are a lot of cool cars in this movie that you don't get to see in a lot of other movies. That and the vast majority of the effects were all done practically. Some of the wrecks and carnage that they wreak in this movie is fucking awesome, and the fact that it's all real and you can tell it's real makes it all the much more cooler. There are some insane stunts here, and seeing them all done practically is fucking awesome. This is a really exciting movie that had no business ever being this entertaining, but it is. Speaking of movies that I never expected to be any good, especially the second time around, we go to number 8. The Angry Birds movie 2. How did they do it twice? Okay, the fact that they made an Angry Birds movie and it was actually really good kind of blew me away. The fact that they made another Angry Birds movie and it was even better than the first one just fucking blows my fucking mind. Yes, this is a really entertaining family flick, and it is better than the really entertaining original. The entire stellar cast from the first movie returned, plus some new fresh voices are here as well. Everything is on point. The story doesn't take like some dip or go off into Crazyville. No, it's very much in line with the first one. It's just as entertaining and fun. The performances, dare I say, are even better this time around, and this movie is fucking gorgeous. I thought the first one looked good, which it does, but this one looks really damn good. It is that Angry Birds cartoon aesthetic, but damn it, man, I've never thought a cartoon looked so real. This is some beautiful CGI. There are a couple of jokes in the movie that I think that after some time may end up dating themselves. I'm not 100% sure, but I do fear that they might. But beyond that, this movie is really on point. This is a tight, entertaining, fun family flick that I recommend anybody watch, regardless if you got a family or not. I mean, I guess we all have families to some degree, but you know what I mean. It's a good movie, check it out. From family fun to absolutely fucking terrifying, let's get into number 7. Silent Hill is probably the most tonally accurate of any video game movie out there. If you've ever played Silent Hill, you'll know that they knocked this adaptation out of the park as far as the tone, look, and feel goes. This is Silent Hill through and through. It's got that perfect blend of creepy, nasty, weird, scary, and terrifying at all times, and lots of fog. The movie does a fantastic job of incorporating elements from the game and also new elements for the movie. You can tell that the people that wrote and created this movie have a fond love and knowledge of the source material. While the movie's not perfect, it does have a few narrative hiccups here or there, and a couple of the performances, especially Laurie from The Walking Dead, are kind of out of place and corny. Overall, this movie is a really good time, and if you're looking for a really fun, kinda nasty at times horror flick, then check out Silent Hill, because this is one of the best video game movie adaptations out there. It's also one of the only movies out there that Sean Bean actually makes it to the end credits. Really, check it out. That guy fucking dies in everything. And now we're gonna take a look at a movie that is an adaptation of quite possibly one of the oldest video games on this list, with number 6. Rampage is a dumbass movie with some big-ass, dumbass monsters doing some big-ass, dumbass destruction, starring big-ass, dumbass The Rock, and it is some big-ass, dumbass fun. Beyond the main 3 characters in this movie sharing the same names and having a somewhat resemblance to the monsters in the games, this movie has abso-fucking-lutely nothing to do with the series that it's based on, but it is still a really good time. Now granted, this is based on an 80s arcade game where you pick one of 3 monsters and you go and punch buildings until they fall down. That's it. There's not really much more to it. That's all you do. So there's not a whole lot of story for them to pull from here. And the movie does give us that. It gives us these 3 big-ass monsters going and punching buildings until they fucking fall, and also a whole bunch of other destruction. There's a story there, but like some of the other movies on this list, it's really just there to get us to the next big action scene. But throw in a big budget, some really entertaining characters such as The Rock, and some extremely fun action scenes from beginning to end, and you've got a really damn fun movie. It's dumb as all get out and the movie knows it, but the movie does what it's supposed to. It is made to entertain, and that is exactly what it does. This movie is extremely entertaining. So check your brain at the door, sit back and stuff your face with some popcorn and enjoy this extremely exciting ride about a big-ass albino monkey named George. Next up is the movie adaptation that just shouldn't have worked of one of the most iconic video game characters ever made, with number 5. Sonic the Hedgehog. Everyone feared that this movie was going to be a fucking disaster, and after that first trailer we got, all of our fears were absolutely confirmed. It looked pretty damn bad and kind of disturbing if you ask most people. But surprisingly enough, the filmmakers actually listened to the fans and went back and retooled some things and changed the entire look of Sonic. I can't say what all they changed between that first trailer and when it actually did release, but when it did release in February of 2020, we were all blown away that the movie we got was actually pretty damn good. More than pretty damn good, it was actually really damn good. This was exactly what a Sonic movie needed to be. Light, fun, and exciting. Sonic is absolutely the star of the show here, and he is a great character to watch from beginning to end, and is voiced wonderfully by Ben Schwartz. Surprisingly enough though, the biggest triumph of this movie that just doesn't get enough credit is that the human characters in this film aren't just totally throwaway. A lot of them, dare I say, are actually entertaining to watch. They actually add something to the film. While yes, I would love to see more of Sonic in his home world that we see briefly in the beginning of the film, what we did get here was a really exciting, wholesome, just really fun movie. Everybody in this film just seemed like they were having the best time making this fun as hell movie. As a Sonic fan since 1991, I gotta say I had a big ass smile on my face from beginning all the way to the end and beyond with that extremely awesome post-credit scene. And I can't wait to see what they have in store for us next with the forthcoming Sonic the Hedgehog 2. Even if you're not a fan of Sonic, I recommend checking this movie out because it is just a crowd pleaser. It is a great, fun, exciting, just awesome movie. Now from family friendly to the first R-rated video game movie ever made with number 4. Resident Evil. The first one. I mean, come on, if you know anything about my channel, you had to know that this one was gonna be on here. Regardless of what anyone thinks about where the series went from here, the first Resident Evil is a really good time. Does it follow the game series it's based on to a T? No, but it does keep in with its themes and its tone. It's a slightly cheesy yet fun movie with some really cool action and intrigue. It ain't Shakespeare, but it's really fucking entertaining. The filmmakers do tell their own Resident Evil story here, but at the same time, you can tell that they do absolutely have a love and knowledge of the source material. There are little callbacks here or there throughout the entire film, plus a whole lot of new stuff, but none of it will alienate people that aren't familiar with the game series. This movie is dumb zombie fun, but it is really well made dumb zombie fun. And yes, I know in this top 10 list here, I have used the word dumb fun quite a bit. But so the fuck what? Dumb fun is entertaining, and that's what movies are meant to do, is entertain, and Resident Evil absolutely entertains. Plus, any Resident Evil purists out there who want to talk shit about this movie's story and performances, look back at the original game, my friend. I think you have been looking at it through rose-tinted glasses. While I love the original game and have played it countless times, the voice performances in that are fucking meme-worthy. And the story is about as convoluted as a fucking Kojima game, so get the fuck over yourselves and enjoy this really good time. While that was the first R-rated video game movie ever made, up next is the last R-rated video game ever made, as of the recording of this video, with number 3. Mortal Kombat 2021. Okay, I know a lot of people are going to disagree with me on this one, but as I said in the beginning of this extremely long video, my list, my picks. This movie has been quite divisive, but I do feel as if a lot of that has to do with when it was released. People really pick apart movies that come out nowadays, especially ones that are based on pre-existing properties. I think people are finding it harder and harder to just sit back and enjoy themselves and have a good time with something that's not perfect. Is Mortal Kombat 2021 perfect? Fuck no, it's not. It's got its issues, but none of them are just so terrible that they should turn you off to the whole entire movie. And the fact of the matter is that what it does right, it does really right. Do they change things? Yes. Is that okay? Absolutely. It's a fucking adaptation. They still retain the spirit of Mortal Kombat. Something I didn't get to say because I didn't feel as if I needed to say it in my original review, by the way, was that some people are giving the movie shit for changing the mythos of Scorpion and Sub-Zero. And no, it did not. What this is in this movie is the original mythos of Scorpion and Sub-Zero. Before they went back and changed it and added in all that Quan Chi bullshit. That fucking shit is not the original. This is the OG story. This is essentially how it went down. All this other shit that's gotten really convoluted, which, I mean, I'm kinda with, it's whatever. This is more OG and in line with actual Mortal Kombat than all of that. All that out of the way though, this movie is a really good time and it delivers what Mortal Kombat fans have been saying they wanted for years. An R-rated, hardcore, bloody, cool Mortal Kombat movie. The fight scenes in it are really well done. The violence is cranked up to fucking 11. It throws in some really awesome fatalities and nods to the games that I really enjoyed seeing. It does take some liberties with things, that's for damn sure, but any adaptation does. The most important job of an adaptation, in my humble opinion, is for it to stay in line with the tone and feel, or spirit, if you will, of the source material. And I feel like that's what this did. No, it didn't have everything Mortal Kombat in it, but Jesus Christ, it's a 2-hour movie and a 30-year-old property. There's a whole lot of Mortal Kombat shit that's built up over the years for this 2-hour movie. There will be more. Either way though, this was a really entertaining, fun movie, and I can't wait to see what they have in store for us next in this new Mortal Kombat universe. Admittedly, Cole Young was kind of pointless and should have just been Johnny Cage, but I'm not gonna say anything more about it. And our next spot is reserved for one of the biggest and most popular video game series ever made with number 2. Warcraft is one of the biggest budgeted films on this list, if not the biggest budgeted film on this list. I'm not 100% sure, but this movie definitely cost a shit ton of fucking money. And you can tell, this is a great looking flick. I myself am not too versed in the Warcraft universe. I'm aware of it, which, I mean, who isn't with World of Warcraft out there? Some of the stuff in it did look familiar from things I have seen from promotional materials and friends of mine that I have that play the games, but I didn't have any, like, connection to anything that was going on in this world. That being said, I think they did a reasonably good job of getting me up to speed enough so that I could understand how this world works. This is a really cool fantasy world that clearly has tons and tons of lore. However, that is the movie's one big drawback, is that there is so much that it does have to get you up to speed on that it takes a lot of that first half of the movie getting you up to speed. And while a lot of this stuff is interesting and there are some really neat parts that happen in this first half of the film, some of it does start to drag a bit. And that's coming from someone who doesn't know this world. I can imagine that if I had all the knowledge about this world, this would all be very repetitious. But that second part of the movie is fucking badass. While the movie is a reasonably good time for the first half, from about the halfway point on, this movie is just fucking awesome. It actually has a compelling, interesting story that I would really like to see where it goes after the credits roll. Unfortunately, every day it looks less and less likely that that's going to happen, but what we do have was really good. This is some straight up geeking out, oh my god, they actually did that in a movie fantasy. It's great for people that are into that kind of thing. For those of you that aren't into that, it's still a good time. This is a really exciting, fun, interesting flick. And yeah, while that first half does drag a bit in spots, it's not like it's bad or anything. Just comparatively speaking to the second half, it's pretty slow. These are also some of the best special effects in a video game movie. These are some of the best special effects in any movie. This movie looks fantastic. The orc characters that take up half the movie in this thing are totally CGI motion capture, and they are 100% believable. Not since Andy Serkis jumping into a spandex suit and doing an ape have I seen a more believable CGI motion captured character. And not only are they good looking characters, they're actually good characters. They're interesting. In fact, they are the most interesting characters in the movie. You care for these characters. You develop an emotional connection to them. They did a wonderful job with the orc characters. Now, the human characters are a bit more stereotypical, but they are still entertaining to watch. The only thing that really kind of sucks about this movie is that you really want to see a part 2 when you get to the end of it, and the chances are, right now, we're probably not going to get that anytime soon. So here we are to the last one, the Endgame, the one that everybody's been wondering about. Now, there was in fact a movie on this list that in my original review of that movie I said was actually better than this movie. And in the time that I reviewed that movie, while I still do enjoy that movie quite a bit, I kind of came down from that a bit. I think that this movie that I'm about to announce is the superior film overall. So what is it? What is the best video game movie ever made, in my opinion? Well, if you haven't already guessed, let's find out with... What's that music? Oh, I know what that is. It's number 1. 1995. Yes, I know, in my review of 2021's Mortal Kombat, I said that it was the superior film. And I still do stand by, that is a really good movie that I really enjoyed, and I think that that movie could spawn superior films as it goes along. And it is close, but after getting a bit of time between first seeing that film and now, I do have to admit that this movie, 1995's Mortal Kombat, is just a bit more enduring. Does it have all the blood and the guts and the R rating and all that? No, it doesn't. Are the effects worse? Yes. Is it more corny and cheesy? Absolutely. But there is just something about this movie. There's something about it that just lasts. There's something about it you just can't get enough of. It is so enduring, and you can tell more than any other video game movie ever made up to this point that the filmmakers had a true love and passion for this franchise. It's not perfect, far from it, but somehow over the years, its imperfections became part of its identity. And that identity is just a really fun, entertaining, feel-good movie. This is the most rewatchable video game movie. It just doesn't get old. It's got really campy performances, the story's super cheesy, and the effects are just kinda bad at times. I mean, come on, Reptile, what the fuck? But all of it comes together to make something that defies all odds. It comes together to make this movie that is just so fun to watch. It's like they did everything just right when making this movie. They shouldn't have. This movie shouldn't have worked, but it just does. And while it spawned one of the worst fucking video game movies ever made with MK Annihilation, I can't hold that against it, because what we've got here is something timeless. I would have never thought back in 1995, when I sat down in the theater, multiple times by the way, to see this movie, that this movie would live on to be the best video game movie ever made. And while yes, as I said earlier many times before, that is my opinion, that seems to be the opinion of many people out there on this subject. In fact, this is the one video game movie that I think most people agree, even if it's not their number one, it's definitely on up there close to number one. There are a few people out there that dislike this movie. There's just something about it you can't help but like. Chances are you've already seen it, so I don't have to tell you to go watch it, but chances are also that you wouldn't have any problems watching it again. And that's one of the things that really signifies how great this movie is. Every time I sit down to watch Mortal Kombat and the New Line Cinema logo comes up and that Techno Syndrome song just blasts through the speakers, I instantly am transported back to 1995, sitting in that theater like a little kid in a fucking candy store. This is through and through the most reliably entertaining film on this list, and the love and care and true passion that the filmmakers had for this movie are what made it my number one pick, the absolute, undisputed number one best video game movie ever made. So there it is, the top 10 best video game movies ever made, in my opinion. I hope you enjoyed this list, as I also hope you enjoyed the series that I've been working on for quite some time now. If you're interested in video game movies, or at least intrigued by the idea of them, then check out my video game movie review playlist. There's all kinds of good times there, and believe it or not, much as this video proclaims, there are actually good video game movies. But there are also some really bad ones. Now this is officially the final video I will have in that series. Yes, as new video game movies come out, I will review them and include them in that playlist, but this is the final one for the series I've been working on for about 2 years. Just wanted to say I had a great time doing this. Yes, sometimes it was a bit painful, BloodRayne 3, but other times I really enjoyed myself, and I hope you guys enjoyed this series as much as I enjoyed making it for the most part. Thank you to everybody who's been there since the beginning, or those of you that went back to watch them and came to now. I'm sorry for the quality of those early videos, it was in the beginning. So, as per usual, if you enjoyed, want more content like this, hit that subscribe button and help my little channel grow. If you want to help out the channel, check out my Patreon in the description below and become a jarhead and get some of the awesome benefits that go along with that, like these guys. If you liked what I had to say, give me a like. If not, let me know in the comments below why. And as always, stay sexy, Venezuela! And with that, now I start my comic book movie review series. That as of right now, the list consists of 256 movies. Oh, and at one a week, that would be approximately 5 years. 5 years.